The autumn fog clung to the old town's cobblestones, a damp, gray shroud that muffled the morning. I was just another ghost in the mist, a painter named Daniel Ward, drifting through the market square, searching for a spark of inspiration that seemed to have abandoned me long ago. That's when I saw it. A flicker of light from a narrow side alley, a place I'd walked past 100 times but never noticed. There, tucked between two leaning buildings, was a small antique shop. A crooked sign, its name weathered into illegibility, swayed in the faint breeze. The air inside was thick with the scent of dust and old varnish, a perfume of forgotten things. Shelves groaned under the weight of tarnished silver, faded portraits, and trinkets from lives I could only imagine. And there, at the back of the shop, hanging beneath a single naked bulb that swung in a lazy arc, was a row of masks. They were wooden, hand-carved, and disturbingly lifelike. As I drew closer, I felt a prickle on my neck. Their hollow eyes, dark and empty, seemed to follow my every move. My gaze locked onto one in particular. It was made of what looked like cracked ivory, with faint, almost imperceptible traces of red staining the lips, as if it had just finished speaking. Reaching out, my fingers brushed against its surface. It was warm, unnaturally so, humming with a low, silent energy. From the shadows behind a cluttered counter, an old shopkeeper watched me, his gaze as unblinking and ancient as the items he sold. I didn't need to ask the price. I just placed a handful of bills on the counter, wrapped the mask in the brown paper he offered, and left. As the shop door closed behind me, the wind turned sharp and cold, and from a distant steeple, a single church bell tolled, its note swallowed by the fog. Back in the quiet solitude of my apartment, I unwrapped my new possession. The walls were lined with books, and an unfinished canvas stood on its easel, a monument to my creative block. I set the mask on the table. In the dim light, its carved eyes seemed deeper, its subtle expression more lifelike, almost human. That night, as I tried to paint, the feeling of being watched was overwhelming. I glanced over my shoulder to see the mask's shadow stretching across the floor, bending at an impossible angle, creeping toward me. Finally, I couldn't resist. I picked it up. The wood felt different now, softer, almost like skin. I lifted it to my face, just for a moment, to see how it felt. A faint warmth seeped into my skin, comforting and strange. Just then, the lights in the room flickered once. I caught my reflection in a darkened window pane. For the briefest heart-stopping second, the mask was smiling, a wide, predatory grin. But my own lips hadn't moved. Startled, I pulled it away. The grin was gone, it was just wood again. The days that followed were a slow, quiet descent. My paintings began to change. The vibrant landscapes I once favored were replaced by haunting portraits, faces with hollow, staring eyes. My neighbors, people I'd greeted for years, now hesitated in the hallway, their smiles faltering as if they were looking at a stranger. I started wearing the mask at night, telling myself it was a strange new habit, an artist's eccentricity. But under its surface, I began to hear things, faint whispers, dozens of overlapping voices, indistinct and pleading. Each morning brought new, unsettling discoveries. Deep scratches on the wooden furniture, as if someone had been clawing at them in the dark. Drawers left slightly ajar. Books pulled from the shelves, and then came the mirrors. I'd catch a glimpse of my reflection, and it would be wearing the mask, even when the real one was sitting on my bedside table. One night, I tried to take it off, but my fingers couldn't find the straps. It felt like they had fused to my skin, grown into my flesh. My breath came in shallow gasps. The whispers in my head grew louder, clearer, no longer pleading, but demanding. Halloween arrived. The streets, once gray and somber, were now alive with laughter and light. Jack-o'-lanterns flickered on every doorstep, and paper lanterns swayed in the crisp night air. I walked among the costumed crowds, my coat pulled tight around me, the ivory mask a permanent fixture on my face. Children waved at me, their parents smiling, assuming I was just part of the festivities. But as they drew closer, their smiles would vanish. Their eyes would widen. Under the mask, my own eyes were gone, replaced by hollow, empty sockets that glimmered faintly in the candlelight. I found myself drawn back to that narrow alley, searching for the source of my curse. I needed to return it, to break free. But where the antique shop had stood, there was only a solid brick wall, stained with age and grime, as if no door had ever been there. A wave of despair washed over me. I turned to leave, to stumble back into the night, but the alley was gone. I was standing inside the shop again. Dust motes danced in a single beam of light. The air was heavy and still. But the shelves, once cluttered with 1,000 forgotten stories, were now completely empty. All except for one item hanging on the far wall. A new mask. It looked exactly like my own face, captured in a moment of quiet terror. Morning sunlight now filters through that same dusty window. The shopkeeper, ageless and unchanged, moves silently through the room, rearranging his empty shelves. A faint breeze stirs the row of hanging masks, and if you listen closely, you can hear them whispering, their carved lips twitching with the faintest hint of breath. In the center of the collection hangs a new addition, my face, pale and wooden, its eyes wide and forever empty. Outside, on the cobblestone street, another soul pauses, their curiosity piqued by a faint, inviting glimmer in the window. The shopkeeper turns slowly, a rare smile spreading across his ancient face. The bell above the door chimes once. Then silence.